What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and I do realize this video is late coming out, and I do apologize for not being able to get down and review it. But I have been pretty busy with work, and on top of that, I'm not really feeling my best, so I do apologize if I sound kind of weird or nasally. Um, it's just that time of the year, the weather starts fluctuating, my sinuses can't handle it, and then I start feeling like crap. So, that mixed in with the fact that I've been busy the past several days in a row, yeah, it's not been good. But I did manage to finally sit down and watch this last night, and now I'm just now getting to reviewing it today. So let's talk about it. Overall, just quick short review of it would be I'm pleased with the performance. I thought we played very well, but I'm disappointed with the result. Uh, I mean, it's about as simple as that. We played well. We were the better team on the night. We really limited them to their chances. I mean, that's saying something for Atletico Madrid. They're not as good as they were a few years ago. Some of their better players have gotten older, mainly defensively. But I mean, they're still a good team, and we looked the better team. I mean, we created a ton of really good chances. If not for the fact that Oblak is a great keeper, we would have won the game. But that is also where I do want to start as far as individual performances, because Courtois overall did well, but on the goal, I'm kind of disappointed. He's not the one. I'm not blaming Courtois for that. There are several people to blame for that goal, but yeah, you look at that. The header comes in, and what's his first reaction? He turns his head. His hands go here, and you're watching all of Oblak's saves. There, he's big. He's up. He's out. He's really making himself big. And Courtois, his reaction, point blank header is turning his head and then putting his hands at his face. You're not big in that instance. You're small now. And that's where I'm a little bit disappointed. I've talked about, for a few weeks, I talked about how it felt like he should be making some of the saves that he's not. It's not like they're not good shots or they're not good, like this one. It's a point blank header. It's bad defending that leads to a point blank header right at goal. But at the same time, what did De Gea do on the weekend? He helped Man U beat Arsenal even though they had so many chances that they should have scored, but De Gea was on top form. He made 14 saves. And it feels like Courtois I don't see him doing that. I don't see him doing that enough. And part of it is because our defense does limit them to very few chances. And frankly, as a keeper, if you're not seeing chance after chance after chance, there's a good chance that you're going to sort of tune out in the game. And so that one chance that pops up, there's a higher probability that you're going to allow it in. But at the same time, if you want to be considered world class, these are the types of saves that you at least have to get a hand to. You don't necessarily have to save it, but if he comes out big, let's say the guy heads it and he's here, and it like flicks off the inside of his hand and goes in, I'm at least respecting the fact that he made an attempt for it. But when he does this, it makes me go, really? That's the best you could do? Like, you couldn't try to get a hand on it? Because, I mean, honestly, it was right here, right above his hand. And all I can think is, just get your hand up. Just be big. You're already a tall keeper. If it's right over you, that means that you ducked out of the way. You didn't put yourself in the way of it. So, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not going to blame him for it because frankly, there are some other issues, obviously, that happened before the header even happened. But I want to have a keeper that I know, like, I'm sure Man U fans love De Gea. I'm sure Atletico fans loved Oblak because they are willing to put themselves on the line, to put their bodies on the line, and make amazing saves that keep their team in the game. With Courtois, he'll make the saves that he needs to. He makes the saves that are right at him. He doesn't make mistakes, but I don't often see him making the saves that are crucial. Curler toward the far post, I don't see him saving that enough. And that's my frustration. I want to see him start to make those saves more often. I want to see him pull off the impossible saves because that's what we need out of a keeper. We need somebody who's going to do that to keep us in games because, we've created a bunch of chances. We haven't been able to finish a couple of them. And then all of a sudden they get this one clear-cut chance and it's right at goal and Courtois doesn't help us out there. So, mixed feelings, but overall, on that moment, I'm pretty disappointed. Then you could look at the defense. You got, kind of, I guess, what I was expecting. Cahill, Christensen, Spilicueta. With David Luiz still out, of course, Christensen's going to start. Rudiger played in the weekend, so Gary Cahill gets to start, and of course, Spilicueta Also gets actually yes, that's right. They did Cahill, Christensen, Rudiger. They did that last midweek against Swansea. Anyway, sorry, I'm trying to keep track of everything. My head hurts. It's difficult. But yeah, so kind of what I expected out of the defense. One of the things though that I want to see going forward is I want to see this stay similar. Because one of the things that was great for us last year was the fact that we didn't have any other competitions, so we were able to play the same defense every single game. That's great. It was great to be able to just keep the same three defenders in, not have to worry about switching them out. They form a partnership and it works out well. In this case, for this year especially, it's been a lot of rotation. And I understand why we've had to do that because there are a lot of games coming back to back, and on top of that, our defense has been sort of on and off, on and off. So you want to switch it around to see what's your best combination. In my opinion, the two factors that have worked best for us all season has been Christensen in the middle and Aspilicueta in the back three. If you have at least those two back there, you've already got a strong back three. And even, we saw the one game with Aspilicueta. Obviously, it was against Swansea and it was at home, so it's not like it was the most difficult game in the world. But with Christensen in the back three in the middle, even with Cahill and Rudiger, I thought, I didn't get to see the game, but we were never really tested until the very end of the game. So I'm looking at this and all I can think is when David Luiz comes back, do I even want to see him in? Even in like we have a midweek game and a weekend game. Do I even want to see the rotation then? Not really. Honestly, I'd prefer to see Christensen just hold down that spot for the rest of the season. Start every game from now on. Because he's taken the spot. And that's where I'm going to start with the back three, is Christensen. I mean, my word, he has taken that spot from David Luiz. And there's no way David Luiz is coming back in unless he somehow comes in as like not only playing out of his mind as a defender but also helping us going forward too. There's no way David Luiz is coming back in and taking that spot away. And just there are so many things that Christensen brings that David Luiz does not bring. He brings a calm mind in the back. He brings somebody who can easily just keep possession. And he brings somebody who's going to keep it simple. Yes, occasionally David Luiz has that great long ball that sets up something, but half of them don't do that. Half of them are out of bounds or, not close enough to the striker. Christensen is just like, I'm not even going to try to risk it. I'm just going to keep it simple. I'm just going to keep possession. And in games like this, that's necessary. We don't want to try to waste our possession because if we do, there's a chance that Atletico is just going to keep coming back at us. And we don't want to wear our defense out like that. So it's better to keep possession, keep it moving. And Christensen does that very well. And even there are a couple passes he pulled off that were threading the needle type of passes. I was pretty impressed with his passing overall too. So I don't know. I realized David Luiz helped us a lot last season, but so far this season he's been terrible. I don't know if I want to see him come back into the team. I don't know if I want to see him play, except for maybe the games where we need him. Whether Christensen needs a break because he's looking tired, or maybe it's a lesser team that we don't have to worry about struggling defensively. But all I know is Christensen, for me, has been one of the surprise packages, but he's not just been a surprise package. He's been probably one of our better defenders all season. Aspilicueta obviously right now still takes the honor for best defender, but Christensen is not far behind. So really appreciate what he's doing back there. Aspilicueta, same as Christensen in my opinion, did very well. Cahill, I thought did pretty well defensively too, and that's not been something I've been able to say for most of the season. I thought, he didn't really struggle. He didn't have any moments where I'm like, God, why is he back there? He's doing terrible. No, he actually held up pretty well defensively. I will say there's still a couple moments of nerve-wracking tension. Whenever he's up against a pacey striker like Griezmann, there's always that kind of concern because he's not that fast and he can get burned really easily. But I think one of the things he did really well in that game was to make sure he had backup. He made sure to step into an area where somebody's going to be behind him, so he doesn't have to worry about stepping up there. And that's something else that Christensen brings, as he brings depth. So, yeah, I think they're working really well together, Christensen and Cahill. It gives Cahill a little bit more license to sort of step up into a challenge. Now, the only thing he's got to make sure is that he doesn't get caught stepping out and then getting passed around, and now he's beating behind. But, for the most part, he did very well putting pressure. He wasn't called on to do a whole lot. I will say that he wasn't really challenged a ton in this game, but he still defended very well when he was called to. So all three of our defenders I thought did well, and that's good to know, because we needed a strong defense at the beginning of the season, and now we've got a strong defense, so that's good. Two wingbacks I thought was very interesting, Zappacosta and Moses. Moses ended up being the right, and Zappacosta ended up being the left. So, Zappacosta, I see it. I do see why he would end up on the left side instead of Moses, because frankly, he's the type of player that's going to cut in and have a shot. And he did that a few times, and one should have been a goal, but Oblak is incredible out of nowhere. I mean, God, through the legs, and all I'm thinking is goal. And all of a sudden, there's his hand, and it's touching it out of bounds. I'm like, holy crap. But yeah, Zappacosta, in my opinion, did very well going forward. But one of the problems that I've had with him in the past is defensively not that great. And once again, in this game, it showed. The corner, he got beat at the near post by Torres. Torres lost track of him and then flicked it on to the back post. So he got beat there several times where he's down the line and then we lose the ball and then they're coming down his side and he's still up there and he's slow to get back. So, I don't know. I understand he is supposed to be a bit more attacking, but the thing about it is when he's on Azpilicueta's side, we don't have to worry about that because Azpilicueta's got it. But whenever they're throwing two down Gary Cahill's side, that's a bit more concerning. It never really paid off for them, fortunately for us, because most of the time it led to a cross that was easily cut out. But there's still that concern that Gary Cahill is about to get burned by two players because Zappacosta got pulled out of position. So, in my opinion, it would benefit us more. Yes, I realize Zappacosta can cut inside and shoot with his right foot, but I think defensively it would benefit us more if Moses was on Cahill's side because he has the energy to get up and down the line, whereas Zappacosta doesn't, but it's okay because he can have cover with the Azpilicueta. But in my opinion, attack-wise, I thought Zappacosta brought a lot. Just a lot of danger to that left-hand side, making them have to be forced to draw over, because if they don't, Jimenez just couldn't handle him. And it was just a constant battle of trying to make sure he couldn't get into open space and have another shot. So, in my opinion, good attacking game, but defensively still needs that bit of work because we do need, Moses brings a lot of great attack, but he also works very hard defensively too. And so you have to have that balance. You can't just be an all-out attack wingback. You have to be able to track back too. And on that note, Moses did that very well. He's still coming back into fitness, so obviously he's still working his way back in. But I mean, he really terrorized the defense sometimes, just coming in from that wing role. It's something that we haven't really had. Zappacosta does great at driving down the wing, but most of the time it leads to a cross. I don't really ever see him cut inside and then try to lay it off like Moses does. Most of his either lead to a cross or he's cut it back and he's looking to lay it off at the top of the box. Moses will cut down the line and then cut across the goal line and then he's driving at the defense and now he's just got a wide open view of, okay, there's the goal, there's the goalkeeper, oh, here's somebody making a run in, I can see it and lay it off. So yeah, he just brings this different element to the game that I think really benefits us. And it's nice to have him back and nice to see that he's getting back to full fitness very well. So, very good to see. We have the three midfield lineup again with Conte, Fabregas, and Bakayoko. First, talk about Bakayoko because obviously he's the one receiving a lot of criticism lately after that poor Liverpool game that he had. In my opinion, that was his first bad game of the season, and I did critique him for it. But I think a lot of the criticism has been overdone. I think because the fact that we let go of Matic, who had already proven himself, I still think he wasn't good enough. I still think, he just had those flaws in his game that were hurting us a bit. And who knows, maybe in this system he really would have worked, the three-man midfield. But in my opinion, we didn't need a defensive player. We didn't need an extremely defensive player. We needed somebody who could create. And I didn't think Matic had that creative ability. Well, now we've got a three-man system to where Fabregas is the creative ability. You've got Conte who's defensive, and you need another defensive midfield in there. Matic would have filled that probably pretty well. And so a lot of Chelsea fans are obviously very pissed that we let him go, even though he's won the title with us twice. But in my opinion, Bakayoko can fill that role. The problem is he's still young, and that youth at times can show. And in my opinion, at the Liverpool game, it did. And since then, his confidence has been pretty sapped. And the problem with it is, though, people aren't realizing, first of all, he's young. Second of all, he's just now adapting to the Premier League. It can take some time to adapt. It's not an easy league to get adapted to. And on top of that, he came in on an injury. He played before he was 100% fit, and he played pretty well. And so a lot of people are looking at that one performance where he played poorly. And it's like, oh well, that's it. He's done. Not in my opinion. Yes, he's not played well since then, but he's still got room to grow. This game showed both sides of it. It showed that he does have the ability. He had some really good moments where he's bullying people off the ball. He's winning it very well in the midfield. He can play the ball really well, just simple passes to keep the ball moving. But then he also had his slip-ups. Obviously, the big one on the goal, losing track of Saul. You can't do that defensively. You can't just lose track of your man because you think, oh, the ball's near post, I'm good. No, you still have to track your man. So obviously that's the youth playing its hand, saying losing track of your man is something that, you're not experienced enough to read that situation, goal happens. But also, that there are a couple moments of give the ball away, or he's a little too over aggressive with his strength, and then they go flopping looking for a call. And then that one moment where he lost the ball, went out of bounds, and they slipped as well, and everybody's like, oh, look at, see, he's right, everybody's right, he's a flop. In my opinion, you've got both sides of it. Now, where he goes from here will determine his Chelsea future. If he's going to be one of our best players, he's getting older, he's getting more experience, he's got to grow from moments like that. He's got to grow from mistakes that he makes. If he can do that, in my opinion, he'll be probably one of the best midfielders we've ever had because he's got the ability to do it. But if he keeps losing that confidence, if he keeps dropping his head whenever moments like that happen, then he's probably just going to turn out to be an average midfielder. So I really hope to see him really grow from these experiences, the mistakes that he's making, and not decrease from it. So in my opinion, wherever he goes from here will determine just how well he's going to do at Chelsea. As far as Conte and Fabregas are concerned, both of them played well. Fabregas, looking for all those long balls over the top, trying to find Morata and Hazard, and most of the time did. And on top of that, just did a very good job of keeping that ball moving in the midfield and not letting it stagnate. With Conte, just all over. He had this one moment, though, that just really... Actually, had a couple moments that really stood out. There was one where he just pretty much bullied Griezmann off the ball, took the ball on his chest, and then beat him. And then there was another moment where he terrorized the defense. He looked like Hazard for a second. He's like cutting in and out, and the defenders are like not knowing what to do, and then fouled him at one point. I'm just like, golly, he's a little demon on the field. It sucks to play against him. I can tell. Like, I just know midfielders hate the fact that they've got to be up against Conte because he's like a little gnat just nipping at you. Just like, get off my leg. He's just always there, always poking the ball away. Oh, that's got to be torture to have to try to play with him around. And the same can be said for Hazard. Once again, another quality performance from him. Just terrorizing the defense. Obviously, the goal, unfortunately, it was an own goal. In my opinion, it was no different than the goal that they awarded to De Bruyne a few weeks ago whenever the defender kicked it into his own net. In my opinion, it's no different. It's heading towards the net. It looked like it was on target. Just because it got turned the other way on the other side of the net, how is that any different? I don't know. Whatever. It's a little nitpick, but kind of frustrating. But yeah, just thoroughly deserved in my opinion. He was all over the pitch. He was creating a lot of really good chances, terrorizing the defense. It's showing. His pressure and his quality is showing, and you can see the defense struggles to know what to do with him. If you try to cut him in close, he's going to poke the ball away and take the foul. If you try to stand him off, he's going to dribble at you and force you to either have to make a decision. Either you back off until you're in your box and now you're in danger, or you have to step in and commit the foul. But he's so hard to play against, and I love watching it. I love watching Hazard play because he is absolutely on fire right now. And then Morata, another good performance from him. He showed out in the first Atletico game for sure. And you could see the little bit of Real Madrid in him still burn brightly. And this one he wasn't as effective as he was in the first Atletico game, but he was still pretty good at terrorizing the defense. There was a nice little battle between him and a couple of the defenders. It wasn't as much as I think we've seen him do in the past. So, I don't think it was a bad game for him. I just didn't really notice him throughout most of the game. He was kind of non-existent at times. So, but overall, it wasn't bad. It wasn't like he's making a ton of mistakes. So, and then you look at the subs that came on: William, Pedro, and Batshuayi, replacing, who was it? Pedro came on and replaced Bakayoko, which at the time kind of made sense because you could see his confidence start to drop a little bit after he made that one mistake, slipping out of bounds. And then it kind of became a 3-4-3 again, and then Willian came on for, I think it was Zappacosta, and then Pedro moved out to the left wing back role. Willian was now in one of the front three, and then Batshuayi came on and replaced Murata. So for those three, Pedro came on with a lot of energy and just that buzzing nature that he has to try to win the ball back and take on defenders as well. It can be effective at times, and in this game it was. He really did create a lot of dangerous chances. Willian came on with a lot of energy and speed as well, and it just causes the defense for the other team to have to sort of drop back a little bit, because if they stay high, Willian always has that energy and speed to get in behind you really quickly. All it takes is one touch, and he can beat most anybody with pace. So it causes the other team to have to sort of drop back a little bit more, which opens up more space for Hazard to play in, which is always great. And then Batshuayi comes on, and at that point we were already tied 1-1, hoping maybe he could come off the bench and do what he normally does, just that coming off the bench to score, but unfortunately couldn't find it. But a lot of good energy from him. I know he played today in the Checa Trade Trophy for the Chelsea development squad and got himself a brace. But it's good to see that he's coming back to full fitness because we do need him. Murata can't play every single game. We do need somebody else to play as well. So, but yeah, I saw a lot of energy from him. Made this one great run, good strength to hold off the ball, and then laid somebody in behind. I think it was Hazard. No, I think it was Fabregas actually. But yeah, just good to see him getting back to the full fitness as well, because we did have a few injuries for the past few games. We've lost our backup striker in Batshuayi. We lost a couple of our youngsters in Kennedy and Musonda. We lost Moses for a little bit. So yeah, it's nice to know that we're getting some of these players back. So now we have some backup. We have some backup for positions that we didn't before. But overall, I'd say the only disappointment is the fact that we weren't able to eke a win out of this. And not just this, but also, looking back at the two Roma games, now all of a sudden those games are much more important. We had a 3-0 lead and then we blew it at home. And then we got embarrassed at their place 3-0. And now we can't get a win at home against Atletico. And now we're second place in our group. And we're going to be facing either Barca, PSG, or Besiktas. Who do you think we're going to face? I can promise you it's not going to be Besiktas. So yeah, it's kind of disappointing that we didn't manage to top our group. Which, by the way, can somebody tell me when did that change, the rule? Because I do remember, I think it was either 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I do remember goal difference being the tiebreaker. And so I don't know when they changed it to head-to-head matches, but I'm pretty sure that changed probably within the last few years, unless I'm mistaken. I thought for sure at some point it was goal difference, and that's why, going into this game, I'm like, all right, draw's fine. And then all of a sudden I hear, oh, Roma topped the group because of head-to-head. And I'm like, wait, what? When did that happen? But yeah, this is a game we should have won. We had several clear-cut chances that we probably should have finished. Obviously, Murata and Willian with the most clear chances. Murata 1-on-1, Willian pretty much wide open goal and just skies it. And then just the fact that we gave away the lead against Roma. We went to Roma and couldn't even pull off a draw. Yeah, now all of a sudden those are more important because every other English team that made it through topped their group, which means we have 4 less groups to face because we can't face any of them in the round of 16. So, yeah, that only leaves 3 teams, and they're all, PSG and Barcelona. Obviously, either one's going to be terrible to have to play against, and then Besiktas is no pushover. Going to Besiktas is going to be terrible. So, that is why this draw is now more disappointing, but I also think it makes the other results against Roma that much more disappointing as well. So, obviously, we're a better team now. I think we are a team that is starting to find our rhythm this season. We've had a good run of results. We're unbeaten in, I think, is it 7 games now? Maybe 8 games in all competitions. But, nice little run of form we're on. Hopefully we can continue that in the winter months. And we got some League Cup matches, we got some FA Cup matches, we got a ton of Premier League games to come, so hopefully we're ready for it, and that's about it for me. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on this game? Let me know, we can talk about it and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea reviews. I'll see you guys in the next game. Peace out.